Chapter 66 Destruction. Gu Hai, Long Wanqing, Mu Chunfeng, and Gu Chen led a group of 500 tree people to run quickly towards the depths of the Love Flower Valley. Fang Tooth and the other group of dragons stared blankly at the crowd. There are still nearly 100 giant dragons, 5,000 Jiaolongs and Bosha here themselves. You all treat them as air. If Prince Aoshun hadn't sent his voiceover, at this moment, Fang Tooth couldn't wait to slap Gu Hai and the others to death. Boom. Steeply in the distance, there was a loud bang. However, the earth was seen trembling violently, and the earth under Gu Hai's feet, even more so, sank violently. Love Flower Divine Tree. Grandmother has extracted all the roots of the Love Flower God Tree. What happened over there? A Love Flower Tree Demon said in horror. A little Love Flower Tree Demon. How dare you act recklessly in front of the king? The king has given you face, but you don't know how to cherish it. Humph. Shred it for me. Aoshun's voice came from the distance. Ong. Steeply. A huge golden dragon light emerged from the distance. Boom. Ah. The miserable screams of the Love Flower grandmother came from the distance. HMPH. Take them all down for me. Those who dare to resist will be killed without pardon, Aoshun said in a cold voice. Yes, rumble. Smoke rose in the distance, the earth roared, and countless debris and giant trees rushed into the sky. Hundreds of flying boats were parked in the air, and millions of troops were already on the move. Escape. Not a single one of them would be able to escape. All directions were suddenly filled with King Liu Yang's army. Dust flew as the earth roared. It's gone. Wang Fu Chao just escaped. Chu Chen's angry voice came from the distance. Find it for me. Turn the Love Flower Valley upside down and find it for me. Aoshun's angry voice sounded from afar. Rumble. Rumbling continued in the distance. Chaos reigned. Gu Hai and his group ran to where Xiaoyu Villa was. And at this moment, Xiaoyu Villa was already surrounded by a large number of generals. Apart from the Golden Rudder disciples, a group of Wooden Rudder disciples were all bound up. Rudder Master, Whole Master, Ancient Rudder Master, help! The crowd of Wood Rudder disciples shrieked. What? Mu Chunfeng's eyes glared as he rushed forward. What for? Stand still. A general glared and shouted. Get lost! With a glare, Mu Chunfeng immediately struck with his palm, instantly knocking the group of generals in front of him out of the way. Bold, the crowd of generals glared. All right, we're watching. Don't bother. You guys go find the other tree people, Fang said indifferently. The crowd of generals looked at Fang Tooth and finally nodded. With 100 giant dragons, 5,000 Jiaolongs and overlords watching over them, there was indeed no need to worry about themselves. Rudder Master. It's Rudder Master Jin who has mutinied. A group of Wood Rudder disciples anxiously told what had happened. Chu Chen, Long Wanqing's face sank. Gu Hai, however, looked coldly at the crowd of Golden Rudder disciples. Some Golden Rudder disciples lowered their heads, while some Golden Rudder disciples were all high and mighty. Golden Rudder disciples, taking the salary of the One Piece Hall and doing things that defy the One Piece Hall. Good, good, very good. A cold aura glowed in Gu Hai's eyes. Let's go, Gu Hai said in a deep voice. Leading a group of Wood Rudder disciples, the crowd ran towards the largest Love Flower tree in the center. Rumblings rose in the distance, while the largest Love Flower tree, at this moment, collapsed and fell to the ground. The tree people were anxious. The crowd quickly rushed towards the smoke and dust. Whew! Aoshun flung his big sleeve, and a steep gust of wind swept all the smoke and dust around him up into the sky. There was a huge pit on the ground, and some cultivators who were good at drilling had already drilled into the ground. The largest Love Flower tree fell, and countless roots and whiskers were broken. There were nearly 2,000 tree people's corpses lying all over the place, and there were more than 500 of them, which were currently under the control of a group of generals. And as long as there was a slight disturbance, they would immediately be divided into corpses. All around, one after another, a large number of tree people were transported. Grandma, Grandma, woo, woo, why did you kill my grandpa? Woo, the four sides were filled with the sound of wailing. Grandma, Long Wanqing steeply shrieked in alarm. However, she saw that Grandmother Loveflower was currently lying at the place where the tree hole was in, her residence. Her entire body seemed to have been stabbed with hundreds of sword holes. And in her weakness, she was spitting out blood, covering her chest, and collapsing on the ground. Chu Chen had one foot on the Loveflower grandmother's chest, and his golden longsword was pointing at the Loveflower grandmother. Cough, cough, poof, cough, ha 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 ha. The Loveflower grandmother was in the middle of a miserable bitter laugh in her weakness. Not far away, Master Liu Nian similarly spat out blood, covering his chest and collapsing on the ground, next to a large number of generals guarding him. The broken army, King Lu Yong, and the unborn, all stood on top of the flying boat, looking at the scene below. Grandmother, Master Liu Nian, Long Wanqing was about to rush up in a cry of alarm. Stand still. Do not come any closer, Fangtooth's eyes glared as he stepped in front. Pa! Gu Hai pulled Long Wanqing back. Gu Hai, don't stop me, Long Wanqing said, anxiously. Gu Hai pulled Long Wanqing with a bitter face and shook his head. Hall Master, don't come over. Listen to Servant Master Gu. Cough. Master Liu Nian was in the middle of vomiting blood in the distance. It's over. It's over. Loveflower Valley is over. Mu Chunfeng twisted his head to look in all directions. Boom. Steeply, three generals drilled out from the ground. Your Majesty, Huang Fu Chouge has run away. There are no traces. It should be the foothill god who has picked up and run away, the three generals said bitterly. Ran away. King Liu Yang's face sank. Your Majesty, Divine Fallstone City. A staff-like subordinate on the side reminded. Aocean, King Liu Yong called out. Aocean in the air answered. Take my warrant and go back to the city immediately and attack Divine Foothill City with all your might. Huang Fu Chouge has become a gopher. His speed is definitely not as fast as yours. Before he returns to Divine Foothill City, take Divine Foothill City for me, King Liu Yong said in a deep voice. Yes, Aoshun answered. Kunlong, take form. Get into the flying boat and follow me back, Aoshun said in a deep voice. Yes, the group of dragons answered, including Bosha and Zhaolong. They instantly quickly transformed, got into a flying boat, and quickly shot off into the distance. Swoosh! In a flash, the group of dragons disappeared into thin air, where Gu Hai's group was also empty. The group of tree people behind Gu Hai immediately pounced on where the Loveflower grandmother was. Don't come over. Loveflower grandmother spat out blood and shrieked. Drink. However, at this moment, the 500 tree demons were instantly half dead and half were restrained. The huge commotion also attracted the attention of King Liu Yang's group. Mr. Gu and Long Wanqing, you're here too. King Liu Yong looked towards the duo and squeezed out a light smile on his serious face. King Liu Yong also instantly saw Gu Chen and also instantly distinguished Gu Hai. King Liu Yong was still very much looking forward to Gu Hai's abilities. First Grade Hall Master Long Wanqing, I've met the king. Your Highness, please spare the Loveflower grandmother and these tree people, please. Long Wanqing immediately begged for mercy. King Liu Yong stared at Long Wanqing. Looking at Long Wanqing's expression, he was silent for a moment, shook his head and said, Loveflower grandmother colluded with Huang Fu Chouge. She's an enemy of our great Jin dynasty, Long Wanqing. You must not get too close to the thieves. No, Huang Fu Chouge. I asked Grandmother Loveflower to help find him. I wanted to find out the cause of my mother's death. That's why I begged Grandmother Loveflower. Long Wanqing shouted at once. Oh, the cause of Long Xiaoyu's death. What did Huang Fu Chaoji say? King Liu Yang's eyes narrowed slightly as he looked at Long Wanqing. But Huang Fu Chaoji lied to me, saying that my mother was killed by you. How is it possible? Of course I don't believe it, but Love Flower grandmother is innocent or, please, your majesty. Raise your hand. Long Wanqing looked at King Liu Yong expectantly. King Liu Yong stared at Long Wanqing, slightly silent for a moment, again as if he was analyzing the authenticity of Long Wanqing's expression. After a while, he laughed and shook his head. Long Wanqing, you should stop pleading for mercy for this group of thieves. They have collaborated with the enemy and betrayed the country. It is a capital offense. Don't make a mistake. But it's really not about Grandmother Love Flower, Long Wanqing said, anxiously. Gu Hai, however, slightly pulled Long Wanqing and shook his head. At this time, was reasoning useful? Reasoning was only for the victor. King Liu Yong was as powerful as the sun at the moment, and his words were in evidence. Your Highness, even if the Love Flower grandmother is guilty, Master Lionian is innocent. Please be magnanimous and spare Master Lionian. And these ignorant tree people, they were all tricked by the Love Flower grandmother, Gu Hai said with a slight salute to King Liu Yong. We'll live and die with Grandmother Flower. The crowd of Love Flower tree demons immediately glared angrily at Gu Hai. Shut up, Emotional Flower grandmother weakly shouted. Mr. Gu is right. You've all been tricked by me. No more arguing, Grandmother Love Flower weakly shouted. Grandmother Love Flower. Shut up. I'm not your grandma. Grandmother Love Flower shouted. Whimper, whimper, whimper. The crowd of Love Flower tree demons were in the midst of crying in low voices. King Liu Yong looked at Gu Hai and said with a slight smile, Mr. Gu, the previous ambush on 10 faces and the grand formation. This king likes it very much. If Mr. Gu doesn't give up, how about joining my king's residence? This king will treat Gu like a guest. Although King Liu Yong spoke politely, but in his tone, there was an unquestionable general. Thank you for your king's love. When this matter is over, I will go to the king's residence to bother you again. Gu Hai nodded. Ha 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 ha. Good. This king's mansion needs such talent as Gu. Release Lionian, this group of tree demons. But they are accomplices. Capital offenses can be waived. Living offenses are hard to forgive. Break the Danshan, seal their cultivation, send them to Gu as slaves. King Liu Yong smiled with satisfaction. Yes, a sound of answering shouts came from all around. Boom, boom, ah ah. Countless tree people around the painful cries. The body of the Danshan place was a sword broke open a big hole. Danshan was broken, and immediately the loss of cultivation almost empty, miserable screams. Long Wanqing showed an intolerant face. Mu Chunfeng pinched his fists. His eyes reddened. Ha 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 ha. Good, good, good. Grandmother Love Flower, however, suddenly laughed. Long Wanqing and Mu Chunfeng quickly went over and supported the severely injured Master Liu Nian. Many thanks, Your Majesty. Gu Hai took a deep breath and said, Wait, steeply. A voice came from beside King Liu Yang. However, it was the Yunsheng person who came forward. Your Highness, these tree people, you gave them to Gu Hai, but this lunar year, I want to ask a question, the Yunshengren said in a deep voice. Oh, King Liu Yong looked at the Yunshengren in doubt. Liu Nian, let me ask you, who is Long Wanqing's father? 30-something years ago, which man gained the girl's heart, making the girl willingly give birth to a pair of daughters for him. After all these years, you actually don't even dare to show your face. The unseen man said coldly. Long Wanqing's father, King Liu Yong, also revealed a hint of doubt and looked towards Master Liu Nian.